Are you going to disappear? Am I live? Oh. Okay, yeah, the voice you can hear, it's Thomas, our tech friend from the IT team and comms team of an international committee and membership committee. Well, yeah, it's really involved. Thanks, Thomas, for the setup. Welcome, everybody. This is our second episode where we meet some really nice, cool clubs and also good friends of ours. And we have a chance to talk a bit more about what's happening in the non-modern football. We've been listening a lot about what's been happening in these weeks, especially in football. It's really disgusting, and so we wish to give you a bit of joy to listen to nice stories of beautiful clubs around Europe. I want to thank, as always, all the committees and all the members who are helping with this little project we've got. I want to remind you also that we've got our roof appeal, and we have a crowdfunding to get the funds to fix the roof of the clubhouse at the Old Spoiled Dog. You've seen probably the pictures. It's a bit of a mess. We're doing our best, but some things cannot be done only with the workforce we've got at the moment. So we'll have to invest a bit of money to fix the structure. So if you go on the channels, on the social media channels of the club and on the website, and also on the Old Spoiled Dog Trust Twitter account and Old Spoiled Dog Trust website, you will find the links to donate whatever you can, whatever you want. The amount doesn't matter. It's really, really appreciated that we've got people from all around the globe helping us in this, because it's beautiful to be loved. We feel love. And so, yeah, now back to the subject for the reason we are here. Yeah, welcome to our guests. Nice to see you.
Hello. Thank you.
And so, yeah, so what do we have today? Today we have Polisportiva SanPrecario, NK Zagreb 041, and Partizan Bonola, 2 teams from Italy, 1 team from Croatia. Different stories, probably similar goals in what we want to do, and what they want to do, and what we want to do in sport and football. And so, yeah, maybe we should just start with the basic question, which is, when was the club founded? What was the background of the founders, and what were the reasons and the goals for the foundation of the club? Who wants to start? Who wants to be the first one tonight? You'll all have to answer anyway, so you cannot escape. So it doesn't matter who goes first. Should I pick?
Jacopo has the mic on.
Okay, so Josip is deciding that. 2018 officially, but since a year before we started to make some competition on all the movement of the popular football, we call it in Italy, calcio popolare. Some teams from all around the city, from social spaces, from some center of migrants, and we started our first competition. So in 2017. We decided to start this football project because we come from a neighborhood in Milano, which it's a popular neighborhood, place where mostly people live and go to the center to work. But we wanted to have something more, and football is the most common language all around the world. So it's the first way to aggregate people, to let them stay together and make something for our neighborhood at first. So we started in 2018 with the official foundation. Now we have 3 teams in this moment. One is an 11-player masculine football team playing in FIGC, which is the official league where to compete. We started last year. We won the championship, so we came over to the next step. And this year we are trying again to win our championship and get over another category, because we think that our way to make football could be a real alternative to the main football, which is run in Italy, mostly by some properties, like people building who makes buildings, or people who have anyway a lot of money. And we want to have an alternative to this, and have some fan-owned club which can compete and can say, okay, there is another way to make football, which is not only about the money of a single man who want to get his ego bigger, but we can have a community that can can show how strong it could be. So the other two teams that we have is one on 7-player football, masculine as well. It's amatorial, and we have also a 7-player team, feminine. Because it started on the first year that we made officially Partizan Bonola, because we are, as obvious as anyone here in this call, we are against any discrimination, and we think that the best way to be against any discrimination is to make things without a discrimination mentality. So we wanted to start to let everyone be able to play in our team.
That's really interesting. Thanks a lot. That's also really like great achievement. Like 2 years to have 3 teams is massive work.
Yeah.
We know something about it, and yeah, it needs a lot of strength and also
Yeah, sure.
You need to have brave as well sometimes to jump into this. But yeah, with there is passion, it sounds that sounds cool. Josip, maybe your story is a bit different. I think like the background and the reasoning, but still, it's really interesting. If you want to share it with us.
Yeah, sure. Thank you for inviting us. So Zagreb 041. Maybe just shortly why those numbers. So 041 is the old area phone code for Zagreb, and it kind of represented the idea of let's bring football back to the people. Remove it from the just this capitalistic way of just making money, and just bring it, because it's the old phone code. It's not used anymore. It was used between the 1945 and 1990. It was some idea of let's maybe bring it more back to the people. Our club was founded 6 years ago. It was last week we celebrated our 6th birthday, and thank you from Clapton and from all different other groups who congratulated on it to us. So yeah, the fans, the White Angels, although the name may sound that maybe is more connected with some other movements, is actually the only anti-fascist and anti-discrimination fan group in Croatia. And they were following FC Zagreb, who was playing first league and was relatively good and successful club in Croatian terms. But they got sick and tired of chairman of the club, who was some kind of local mobster who was making shady deals with, like Jacopo was saying, with a lot of real estate, dealing with the city and stuff like that. And also he was he attacked, and he had a lot of problems with White Angels because they weren't scared, to call him out in the public. So there were even cases where the club was trying to ban fans from coming to the games and stuff like that. And people who were at that time part of the group got sick and tired of that. They saw that the football is moving away from the people. They saw that even the chairman with one of the games actually banned his players from going to greet the fans after the game. He told them if they go and say hi to the fans, that they will not play for the club and stuff like that. And people got sick and tired of that. And in 2014, it was in the winter, 1st of December. There was about 50 or 60 people who gathered. Some of them, most of the idea came from the football fans, but there were also people from different NGOs, especially those who are working with refugees, because the group was working a lot with the local with asylum seekers in Croatia. But also just like people who like the idea of having the fan-owned and uh, sports or association stuff like that. So yeah, we started in 2014. Although it took us like 3 or 4 months to register the club because we don't have a president, and it was really problematic for administration when we went to register the club to understand the concept of not having a president. They kept asking us, okay, but you have to have a president, you have to have some kind of general secretary or something. Like, no, the law doesn't say we have to have it. We have assembly and everything. They were really struggling with that, but luckily we had some people with law background who helped us to maybe bring it more in the administration terms so they can understand it. And we started playing in season 2015-2016. Since then until now, through the whole time we had the men's senior team, 11 team. We started with also women's team. So for years they've been playing the local tournaments, usually 5-on-5 or 6-on-6. Unfortunately, in Croatia, there is not a lot of there's no widespread of women's football, so it's hard. There isn't a local league, so the only leagues are national, both in 11-on-11, like the normal football, but also on futsal, like in the gym, 5-on-5 time. So if you want to play a league, you have to play it nationally, and it was too expensive at that moment for us. This season, some of the girls decided they want to actually play it for real, let's call it like that, in a league. So some of them moved to the new club. So we are kind of, right now, we don't have an active women's team for the first time. But we are hoping to restart it on the spring, hopefully also when the situation with the pandemic and everything gets better. And we have a youth team. So far, the only youth category that is there is enough players to compete is the youngest one, so under the age of 8. They started their first official season this year, but also we have some kids who are older, 10, 11, 12, 13. But unfortunately, none of these groups are big enough for us to register to play. But this is something definitely we hope to improve. And yeah, from the beginning, the club had this kind of a mixture of people who are really here for the football, who are football fans, some of them ultras, but some of them just fans, and a lot of people who are not here just for the football, who are here to support different kind of ideas, something that is not so often seen in Croatia, especially on the sports. This is things, working with different groups who are often discriminated in society, whether refugees or LGBTIQ, different kind of minority or something. And some of the people here are more for these reasons than for football in itself. But we think this is also one of the advantages, because it's much more than just a club, but it's also not just another social project. It's kind of best of the both worlds.
Yeah, I think the point like you're making about getting some people closer to projects which are important through football, or maybe making football a way to get together people and also get them interested. That's a really good. That's probably the power of our projects, I guess. We spoke so many times with people who didn't like football anymore. And they thought like, okay, this is an environment where I can like football again, or maybe the other way around. But people, and it's also interesting because I think you've got a mix of people who are more militant, who can get people who are from outside a certain kind of world, and it's really good to interconnect and mix each other and learn from each other. So that's the power of it. It's a bit of a it's a cliche. So it sounds like a Christmas card, but I think it's time almost.
But it's true.
This kind of sentences. And then Polisportiva SanPrecario, what's your background then? Like, yeah, for example, who were the people who started the club when it started and why? I mean, were all sport people, were all political people, was it a mix of both? Was it, I don't know, what's your background also?
Ma prima di tutto la vergogna perché siamo gli unici a parlare in italiano, ma miglioreremo. No, noi siamo nati come Polisportiva in realtà a partire da una squadra di calcio nel 2007 e siamo nati da uno scenario di movimento, dei movimenti che erano attivi nella città di Padova in quel periodo. Lo stesso nome riporta alcuni dei legami che volevamo avere, ad esempio con la questione del lavoro del precario che stava emergendo con evidenza in quel periodo là, con le Euromedei di Milano, con le lotte per i diritti contrattuali e oltre a questo, come condividiamo con le altre squadre che hanno parlato, il dato dell'inclusione sociale, quindi della lotta al fenomeno del razzismo e l'idea di provare a costruire un altro tipo di sport che non fosse quello che ci veniva proposto quotidianamente sui canali mainstream. Era quello il tempo di Calciopoli, no? Se ci ricordiamo.
Okay. Posso traduco un attimo se... Ok? I'm going to translate just really quickly. So basically, Polisportiva SanPrecario started from a football club in 2007. The background was strongly the one of the movements of the struggle of the militants in Padova. That's the city where SanPrecario is from. And also the name, for non-Italian people, SanPrecario, precario is the precarious. That's like the job, the contract, usually contratti precari, these contracts which don't give rights to the workers. They're not like permanent works and there are not many rights. And there was a strong movement. I was young, I was at university. I remember this growing in the Milan 1st of May march through Milan. And SanPrecario was this figure of a saint that was protecting the precarious people with precarious and contracts. And so the name was also linked to this one because it was the time where these contracts were they were getting more and more popular. There were many more people in these work situations, and also it was to have a new way of doing sport and a more inclusive and anti-racist kind of sport. But also what's important in terms of new kind of sport, this was the time of Calciopoli. Calciopoli was the big scandal of yeah, we all know, many people will comment, oh yeah, classic Italian. We know it's happening everywhere now, but back then we were in the front, like well, we were the first ones, and where it became really big with all the issues of corruption in football. And this was really like the background of the club. So yeah, vuoi continuare così? Poi...
Sì. Di fondo c'era questa idea che secondo me nasceva in quel periodo, si è sviluppata poi negli anni, adesso sono passati 13-15 anni, insomma, e abbiamo visto svilupparsi in Italia un movimento di sport dal basso gigantesco. In quel tempo era ancora in origine, no? E quindi c'era questa idea di provare a riappropriarsi di questo fenomeno dello sport che da un certo punto di vista è sempre appartenuto a un immaginario di destra, e provare invece a ritrasformarle in un meccanismo aggregativo, inclusivo, capace di rideterminare le relazioni sociali, l'inclusione sociale, anche di riappropriarsi dei territori. E quindi c'era alla base di tutto un po' questa grande volontà che poi è nata, appunto, come dicevo, nella forma di una squadra di calcio iscritta da subito in FIGC, ma si è di lì a poco sviluppata in tutta un'altra serie di squadre, basket, calcio a 5, mantenendo questo tipo di idea di fondo. Credo che un po', anche così ti lascio il tempo della traduzione, non sono troppo lungo, però...
Non ti sentiamo.
Microfono.
Sì, infatti, scusate. Se mi fai una lista velocissima degli sport che avete basket, calcio 5, calcio 11.
Basket che gioca in FIP, calcio a 5 che gioca in questo momento in FIGC, il volley che è nato un anno dopo e gioca in Wisp, misto, certo, il volley è misto, così come il touch rugby che è nato invece da un paio d'anni e anche quello è misto, è tessuto sportivo amatoriale, nel senso che non è iscritto a federazioni.
Okay. So basically, yeah, to go back, it's now 13 years ago, and the movement was growing in those times. But not since then, the movement has been growing also internationally and nationally with all the Fanon anti-fascist, anti-racist clubs who were trying to reconquer the areas where there were the cities, the spaces, and taking also back the sport from the right wing, which has been a bit of a well, that's been a wave in the years. There were times in which probably wasn't only right wing space, but sadly it was taken over and eaten by the right wing. So basically, taking this space back, but also the physical spaces back in the city, was really important. And so the first football club joined the FIGC, which was what our friend from Partizan Bonola was mentioning, which is the not the amateur league, not professional, but already the one structured in the football pyramid. And what's interesting is that there is also now they've got a lot of different sports. They've got basket, which is in the basketball league, five-side, which is in the again in the FIGC, the Football Association League, mixed volleyball in Wisp, which is the amateur league, and also touch rugby, which is also in the amateur league, and it's a mixed sport. So yeah.
Sì, alle letto tutte, secondo me bene o male ci siamo. L'unica altra cosa che mi viene in mente è che l'altra caratteristica che è partita da subito in maniera nitida è quella di viversi lo stadio in un'altra maniera, come una appunto occasione inclusiva in cui si provava a proporre modelli alternativi rispetto anche lì al calcio degli stadi di Serie A, e quindi abbiamo da subito cominciato a offrire il terzo tempo alla squadra avversaria. Abbiamo da subito provato a costruire la domenica come una giornata di festa, al di là del risultato in campo, anche perché poi insomma, nascendo come bene o male un esperimento, il girone d'andata del primo anno del calcio li abbiamo perse tutte, quindi era anche una cosa di convenienza nostra. Però ecco, c'è anche questo elemento che ci ha caratterizzato da subito, il modo di vivere la domenica, il modo di vivere lo stadio, il modo di relazionarsi con gli avversari, con l'arbitro, dentro appunto una dimensione relazionale, no? I conflitti li facevamo per strada e allo stadio provavamo a costruire invece aggregazione. Ecco.
So, anni per arrivare in Champions League, non siamo ancora in seconda categoria.
So yeah, basically like another important point, which I think is also shared by all the other people here today, is that a new way of supporting the club during the games, so more inclusive, different from Serie A, also with all the limitations and all the rules and all the restrictions that there are in the higher leagues, and also like one thing that it was introduced by SanPrecario at the beginning was also already that's what we call in Italian the third part, the third tempo, in English it's called first half, second half, let's say the third half of the game, where both teams could meet, have drinks together, get together. So the Sunday was more of a day of partying and having fun. And this is what they said. It's not me saying it, but also because the first season they lost all the games, so this was the best way for them to enjoy the Sunday at the end, instead of focusing only on the result. And also they wanted to point out that they're fighting for the Champions League. The goal is the Champions League. They're getting there. So times will get better. We will see you playing against Manchester United, or I don't know who plays up there. Those kind of that plays there. So well, I guess not many of us care anymore. So what would be interesting is that maybe because we covered a couple of the questions we prepared. I think maybe we can talk about, we can put them together. They don't have to be the same thing, but maybe they could be something that it's shared. So what could have been, what you consider as the key milestones of the club and the main activities of the club in the community also outside sport. So what's happening outside the pitches during the games. And yeah, if you think like there are milestones also in that, can be also, by the way, sport milestones. It doesn't have to be something only, in terms of activities. Who wants to start? Do you want to go again with Jacopo?
Okay, let's follow the same row before. Yeah, our milestone, as I introduced before, is relationship with our community, our neighborhood. We come from a neighborhood which is big as a medium city of center of Italy. It's about 80,000 people in our neighborhood, and so we don't feel our space, our part of the city, as a place where we can actually live. I don't know how to say. Like we just feel about this place as where we have the house, but we have no pubs, we have nothing to do all around here. So our first milestone is to improve our neighborhood, to be proud of it, to build and support our community. For example, since the first lockdown, we started preparing some food boxes for all the family that lose job in our neighborhood and in all the area, or in our area of Milan. It's this is mostly of all our way to stay together. Mostly of us come from the same neighborhood. We don't want to have like borders of our neighborhood, obviously. Everyone who wants to come and live this place, not only as a place where there are some apartments, but a place where to live in Milano, is one of our neighborhood, is our people. We have this strong like I don't know how to say, like people want to come to play for Partizan Bonola because he's the team of Bonola. We created a strong bond with the community. People know in all around our neighborhood that can count on us for everything. We can be also like something to refer to fix their problem if there is a collective way to fix it. And yeah, people want to. We have some players that used to be paid in other teams to play football in a higher level, that wanted to come to play with us because we have a different way to make football. You don't have like a vertical hierarchy where there is the president, which is the owner, and the older one in the team, but we have some people that give their time into this club, into this association. So you can feel that you are a part of something. It's not like I go play in a team. I go play in the team of my neighborhood with my friends, with people I know since I was a child. I can see my friends. I don't know, come si dice spalti?
On the stands.
Yeah, on the stands. You can see your friends on the stands and say, okay, I'm playing for them, and they are singing for me. We are together. We are the same thing. And it's as you told, it's very simple. It's not this big value. This you don't have to make a study to understand them, but you have to just live the situation and can see how much the community can get bigger. Also, without a football team.
Yeah, this is cool because also I think it's something that personally us as Clapton, maybe we have. It's a bit difficult for us, to be honest. Like this is a bit of this is a massive city. This is a city where there are a lot of different clubs, and a lot of the people who are in London, maybe they lived here since they were. Maybe some people came here when they were at uni. Many people were born here. Many people are foreigners. So so there is a massive mix. So that's I really love, and sometimes I'm a bit jealous of this feeling of, okay, this is my area. This is where I grew up, and where where I meet my childhood friends. Since then, I wanted to ask you something, if you can. Would you mind showing where you are? Because just today you were handing out the boxes of food.
Yes, we are in this is a storage. It's a place where we store food. It's our we have another association which is our place where we can organize meetings or other activities, like we are making some murales around our neighborhood to make it nicer, but also to tell some stories, like about all this stuff. We just made a murales talking about all these things. And I wanted just to add the thing that I remember now. Josip told us about 041 as the postal code. We too have on all our scarf or hats, we have 151, which is the postal code of our neighborhood. So we have these these things that everyone recognize.
This is also a German thing. Like many clubs who have the number under the name because it's the year of the foundation. But the local number is actually also a bit cooler. It's also not to show off ours. It's 1878 badge. So the year of foundation. But we're going down.
We were not original.
So yeah, Josip, you also mentioned like groups, and yeah, what are your activities and
a lot of our things, especially in the beginning, were connected with asylum seekers, because it was also, it was 2014, 2015. It was the time of that big wave of people coming to Europe, and we wanted to do our part and do more than just some of the individuals who volunteering and stuff like that, but we also wanted to see how we as a club can do something. And yeah, just in a few minutes. So we are not located in a neighborhood. So we don't have our own neighborhood, but we did decide to aim to rent a pitch, to rent a stadium where we play in the same neighborhood where there is a reception center for asylum seekers, because we wanted the pitch to be really close to them, to make it as easy as possible for them to join us. And I think this is also something that it really worked out great in the beginning, and it helped us to show to especially people who are not so much in love with football, to there are some different stories. We had a lot of other volunteers who don't care. I talked with few people who came for the first time in their life to the football game on our game, which is like really interesting for me. For someone's first experience is the last league in Zagreb, and but it really is a great feeling for us. And that's the second part of I think what we could be really proud of is the atmosphere. This what also Jacopo was talking about. This positive feeling where you can come. What I really liked is in the beginning we had a lot of referees who were staying after the game and drinking with us, hanging out with us, and saying this is really nice to come, although you lost the game, you're not chasing me, throwing bottles at me, cursing me. And we one of the best feeling for me, or one of the funniest, was there was like really old referee who he said he was supposed to be retired, but he's not yet, and he said he's been referee for 30-something years, and this is for him the best club, for the atmosphere of him as a referee. It's like, okay, we are doing something really good. And now with that, this kind of positive atmosphere shows up where people decide to bring their children to our game, to our club, and this is something really good for me, because we are not that popular. We don't have our own stadium where it's just us, so you can stumble upon it. It's kind of hard, just to randomly come to our club. But it's really great that in the last probably last 2 years, there's much more people contacting us on social networks, something like that. Hey, I heard about your club, can I bring my son or my daughter? your practice. And yeah, we manage also to work on coming to that note. We managed to work with our city football association, CTFA, to allow asylum seekers, especially underage, under 18, to not register as a foreign players, but to register as a local players, which really helps a lot with the registration documentation, because we don't have to bring some stupid documents or something for them to register to play in the this amateur level of, I mean, not amateur, it's professional league, but amateur level of nobody's paid or something like that. And so yeah, I think we are slowly but surely changing some perceptions on the pitch and off the pitch. And if Thomas is ready, maybe he can also play the video of the first asylum seeker who ever played for our club, shortly talking about the feelings he has about playing here.
Zagreb.
Yeah, 0-4 yeah, this is another family. I tell you, that's why I tell you, like, I feel myself here, because I met a great collective, and I really feel like we are all the same, and they're great, like family, like a team. It's a team, but it's like a team, and we know each other since like 2 or 4 months. And if you come to the play, if you have game, or if you come to training, you think, this team are since I don't know how many years. It's just because you just open our heart and see each other. We are one, and we have to do something. We have to show to the rest of the Croatian that everything can be something,
Yeah, that is not just a football team, it's more like a mission.
Yeah, it's like a mission. It's not team, it's just not a team. This team is the best team of the world. Yeah, it's not Man U, it's not, I don't know, Madrid or Barcelona. This is the best, No, really. Yeah, because if you come to join us, if you come to watch, you'll see the unification. It's that things who are missing in this world now,
Okay, I couldn't see it, but I hope people watching did manage to see it. So yeah, that was our first asylum seeker who got registered.
Test of a
played,
person's true
for
value.
our club, and yeah, I think he kind of really nicely put this kind of what's different and what's something that we bring new to the Croatia, because yeah, unfortunately in our country there are no. Until us, it sounds maybe egoistic. It sounds a bit maybe preposterous, but as far as I know, until Zagreb 041, there weren't clubs who were ready and open, not just in football, but in other sports, who who are willing to work with different groups in Croatia. Yeah, that's it from my side.
Sorry, no, I was just saying sorry, I didn't mute myself. No, that was really good. A really nice story. Like yeah, I'm really amazed by the amount of work you do. There is a bit of a misconception maybe as well about where you're from, I guess, in terms of this kind of issues, probably. So that's.
I mean, it's not misconception. It's realistic. I mean, 99.9% of the football fans are like the on the wrong side of being discriminative and being rude and being violent and stuff like that in all the bad ways. So unfortunately, I would wish if it's just misconception, but yeah, these kind of things are rare, unfortunately, here.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, I wanted to be optimistic, but still, I mean, what you probably then, I mean, what you do is amazing already. This makes it even more exceptional and great. And Polisportiva SanPrecario, what have you been working on out there, outside the stadiums, outside the gyms, and with the community, with the association? What are your highlights of this kind of work you've been doing, if you have?
Well, we have been doing several campaigns outside sport, especially in relation to refugees, and we have been doing some international projects with the European Union to have integration through sport of refugees, both males and females. Here, the situation, like partnering with several other associations across Europe, we have seen that we have really a different situation because we have some partners in Athens that work directly in a big refugee camp. Here, it's all developed on really small structures where a small association deal with some houses with 10 or less refugees within them. And so the dynamics around the procedure and how to handle and how to work with refugees, it's really different. Also because most of them are working, and in many cases, sport, it's not their first thing. And we during these projects, we always thought about making questionnaires and checking what were their interests and what were the barriers refugees were having. And we saw the barriers were several. Transportation was the biggest one probably. Then, of course, integration to the community, because most of them were not able to like go to a club and ask to play because no one would allow them to play. And so we tried to work on these barriers, and it was also one of the focal points of Polisportiva, that everyone has to play. And we are really proud of one of the campaign that was developed several years ago, which was "We Want to Play." And that campaign was really important because there was a law in the National Football League tournaments that was not allowing refugees to play due to several reasons, like residency or other documents that most of the cases are really difficult to obtain for them. And what happened is that we launched this campaign to allow the refugees that were playing with us to come to the field and play with us. And in the end, sharing this campaign through Italy with tons of associations, we have been able to go to the directory of the Football League and meet with the president on all the council, and they changed the rule. So now the refugees are allowed to play. And that was probably one of the biggest milestones we had. Then another big program was, we called it Spazio allo Sport, and it was based on the zones of the city, the playgrounds, the gyms that were not used, were abandoned, they were disrupted also. And we tried to put the focus on these areas. And also we tried to ask the government, the local government, and all the public structures to think about sport and the costs of sport. And in the end, that also was a really good thing, because some of the gyms we were playing in, where it was like the volleyball team was playing for several years in a gym that had the roof broken, and it was raining inside when they were playing.
We know something about broken roofs at the moment.
Yeah, I know.
Don't say the R word, because it's the scary one.
And so we were able, through this campaign, to focus the attention on these things, and the community and the government reduced a bit the taxes and the fees for association to use public fields and public gyms. And then they also thought about the playgrounds and other zones in the city that were abandoned. And through our requalification process, now they are plenty of life and people going there to have sport.
What I find really cool is that it's interesting. You almost all touch the point of the space, and that's something that it's something that as I was saying, it can be either frustrating or a massive good thing, like having the space at the end of the day. A physical space is 99% of the time what's really needed to create a base, to feel that you're part of it. And it's really nice that I was going to ask about the infrastructures, and I think more or less you all told us about it, like where the ground is located in Zagreb, the work you've been doing with the other stadiums, the fact that Partizan Bonola is from the area, and
there is a difference with us because we didn't start from a neighborhood. We focused our attention on the northern neighborhood of Padua, which is called Arcella, and all our attention was there. But let's say the gyms where people were playing or the football pitch were not there. Were located in several zones around Padua, and we came to this project of having a physical place called home. This year, it was really kind of a joke to start this kind of a process with the COVID situation. And it's really hard to run through it, but we are still making it. And now we can say that we are doing projects and we are doing things in the neighborhood and trying to focus on the people that are around us too.
Yeah. So that's really cool. Do we have? What can we talk about? What's the time? Maybe we'll have another 15 minutes more or less. Is it fine? Like, I know that for you it's also late. I wish you had dinner. I don't know if you have Italian dinner time. It could be a really late one. We've got a question actually on Twitter, and so let's do this one now. Then we can talk about something else now. We have time. Just a really quick question that is probably the struggle of all the clubs. We were talking about this before the streaming. Somebody's asking, how many volunteers do you have, and how do you find new volunteers? How is it working for you?
But do you mean for running the team or for the other activities? We can try to ask both.
Running the club, let's say, running the club and the activities around it. Maybe if it's two different things, maybe you can specify.
Yeah, sure. Because, for example, for us, the volunteers who run I prefer to call them militants for their work inside the organization. They come from, I don't know, I think are the people who have more heart. I can say that keep the club above their personal interests. And there are, I don't know how to find them. The people that first start playing or coming on the stands, people just see, okay, there is these things, I want to run it because I have the opportunity to run it and give my time, and I can give the I don't know, like the happiness that comes from seeing a thing that is yours getting bigger, getting stronger, and achieving results. That's it.
No, that's not small. That's a big thing. Like there is a big difference sometimes of switching from being a football supporter. I think it's probably Josip, you can tell us something about this, because I guess the switch between being a football supporter to being a volunteer running the club, that's something that needs, at least in my case, it really needs some focus, as Jacopo was saying, that you have to say, I'm doing it because it's the right thing to do. My fun is doing something which is, like, you kind of change your concept of fun. I have to say, maybe that also getting older, probably my idea of fun is changing to probably going out to being on the couch, drinking beer in the flat. But I guess that probably, that this is something interesting. That's like, how do you did you find any problems with that, or was there like a big push for this change?
Yeah, I mean, actually, we didn't have so much problem in the beginning. Now we have more problems because at the beginning it was all, new and shiny, and it was interesting for everyone. And it was really easy to work out. Okay, someone has to pick up the balls or bring the jerseys or do this or do that. Luckily, we have a few people who with great experience and skills in different areas, especially when, for example, talking about finance. We have practically the same guy, working things out with the bank and stuff like that since we started the club. And I think we would be in a much more worse situation if we didn't have him. So it's kind of, there's no recipe for that other than, just make sure to also bring in the club people who know what are they supposed to do with this side of the things. But yeah, in the beginning, it was much easier. Unfortunately, we, especially in this kind of, it's not so hard to bring people occasionally to the game. It's much more harder for someone to get really stuck in, especially, for example, in our perspective, where we didn't have, we never won a league, so we never actually moved up the chains. Although to most of the people in club, it's not so problematic for now. They are more for, some of them are kidding, we can also we can stay forever in the lowest league as long as we do it the proper way. Some people do want to move up, but we don't have this kind of pull. We don't have this kind of something that will, okay, I will stick for the club because I want to see them, play Champions League or something like that, what someone mentioned. So it's sometimes hard, to find people to do this, especially if it's something, let's call it boring, if it's updating website, if it's doing, some of these mundane things, and, you have to have someone do it. And it's sometimes harder to find volunteers. For example, a few years ago, we had 7 or 8 of us, sharing, posting on different social medias and stuff like that. Now it's 2 or 3 of us. So unfortunately, I don't have the good recipe on how to do it. What we are trying to do, and we thought it might help, is also to get connected with some student clubs and student movements, hoping to bring someone, because a lot of people in the group have been activists or volunteers or something for years and years, and also in a way maybe getting a bit emotionally tired. It's not. You have to have emotional and mental strength to volunteer for something that is challenging, and it could really help us a lot, to have some fresh blood, to have some new kids around the block. And this is something definitely that we would wish that we are hoping to improve on in a few years.
Yeah. Well, then I think it's perfect. I think we share some of the worries. I'm like, getting old, I get also more pessimistic. So maybe things are not happening in the way I see them, but I'm worried about stuff. So it's definitely an issue. I was reading an article about also the engagement of young people in sport at the moment, and it seems that actually they're getting less and less interested because it's less interactive. They don't want to spend too much time watching a football game on TV, even supporting these big clubs. They want it, like they want a snappy, fast way of doing things, but there is a way of enjoying the sport, which is not the way that was maybe 10 years ago.
Or that we are used to.
The
changes.
Yeah, I didn't want to grab.
Change is much more rapid.
Yeah, I didn't want to grab everybody we're all old. I'll just take the responsibility for being old and considering myself so bad. I didn't want to say we. I just said like 10 years ago, so it was maybe more generic. And SanPrecario, how are you doing with volunteers? How are you doing with the engagement of people? Getting more people as well.
Allora, intanto mi scuso anch'io, parlo in italiano, per cui difficoltà.
Tranquillo.
Ti chiedo se mi puoi ripetere la domanda.
Ah, certo, no, la domanda è sulla su come trovate nuovi volontari, se avete abbastanza volontari, quanti ne avete e come trovate nuovi volontari, praticamente, e come funziona un po' questa dinamica.
Allora, sì, noi non è che abbiamo volontari, nel senso che noi abbiamo una composizione che è fatta di atleti e una composizione che è fatta di supporter. E questa differenza tra atleti e supporter molto spesso per nulla, nel senso che tutti gli atleti poi diventano supporter delle varie discipline. Ci piace chiamarci attivisti più che volontari nella pratica poi quotidiana di quello che facciamo. Quindi siamo tutti un po' volontari e un po' attivisti, anche gli atleti. In questo anche il fatto stesso che la polisportiva si regga e dal punto di vista economico, anche grazie al fatto che ciascuno dei partecipanti mette una quota associativa, dimostra il fatto che appunto diventa un percorso di intreccio costante tra appunto, chi pratica lo sport e chi non lo pratica, e chi sta dentro invece una progettualità più ampia, che è quella che appunto raccontava prima Alessandro.
Ok. Credo, la dico questa, ne dico un attimo in italiano e poi dopo la traduco anche. C'è una questione di cui abbiamo parlato anche all'interno del Clapton, che è quella, per esempio, dell'utilizzo di un termine diverso, che non sia volontari, ma che sia membri attivi, che dà tutta un'altra visione, secondo me. È sottile, però è molto interessante. E quello che dicevi adesso, siamo più attivisti che volontari, siamo più membri attivi, atleti attivi. Cioè. So basically, there is not, so basically in SanPrecario there is not a concept of volunteers. There is more of the two pillars are the athletes and the supporters, and there is sometimes no difference between the two. Many athletes become a supporter, many supporters are also athletes, and because many people then start joining. What's probably sometimes a way to push this is the fact that there is the fees to join the teams. This is a bit the German system as well of the athletes who are, so that's in the 51% system where many athletes have power in the choices of the club, and so it's all interconnected. And this is where, like, members do sport. And one thing that we were saying that is they consider themselves more activists than volunteers. So I think this is a really interesting subject, and we've been talking sometimes inside Clapton about this as well. What's the difference? There could be a small difference in terms of language linguistics, but we would like to consider ourselves more as active members rather than volunteers. Volunteering is just sort of, well, I mean, you probably get what I mean, but an active member is somebody who's part of this, and it's a really important part of this group. It's a member, but then he gets active. And probably that's the same thing for being activist instead of volunteer. Activist probably has a more proactive, the word says itself, approach to the change of things. Volevi aggiungere altro?
No, vabbè, dal punto di vista numerico oggi abbiamo circa 90 atleti e complessivamente comunque arriveremo sulle 150-200 persone che ruotano attorno alla SanPrecario. In questa forma, appunto, dove la visione della polisportiva è una visione appunto di bene comune, no? Sulla progettualità, e quindi tutti sono appunto attivi. Sentivo che facevi riferimento alla Germania. È ovvio che noi comunque lo sguardo al San Paoli l'abbiamo sempre dato fin dalla nascita come modello organizzativo, perché è sempre stato anche un modello che è riuscito a coniugare lo sport e l'attivismo sociale in maniera, insomma, esemplare per quanto ci riguarda, nel senso che prima non c'erano di questo tipo. Noi abbiamo sempre trattata quel modello là, ovviamente anche per imparare, come poterci, nonostante veniamo comunque sì, come raccontava Stefano, da percorsi di attivismo, cioè di militanza a volte, eccetera.
Anche perché poi ve lo volevo chiedere, voi siete stati forse uno dei primi club in Italia ad aver
Forse poi c'è stato lo Stella Rossa a Napoli che è del
2006.
Che è del 2006. La Sata forse. E la Sata Sakura anche, però.
Sì.
La Sata Sakura. Visto che ci siamo, intanto salutiamo anche gli RFC Scalion, perché sennò Maurizio si offende. Queste mascherine adesso perché abbiamo fatto questo mini assembramento che non si può dire, ma perché ci piace anche rappresentarci nelle nostre varie sfaccettature.
Sì.
Quindi abbiamo le mascherine come ce le avete anche voi dei club fatte dalla Rage.
Qua.
Facciamo spazio pubblicità.
So basically, what we were saying is that in terms of numbers, there are around 90 athletes in SanPrecario, which is really good. And I'm jumping a bit to what's been said after talking about 150 to 200 people who are actually active around the SanPrecario. This idea of the Polisportiva, which is translated, I have to be honest, I don't know the English word, but it means multi-sport. Poly is Greek, I think, so it comes from the Greek. More than one sport. So the idea of a Polisportiva as a common good is probably what's pushing people to get more involved, both on the pitch and also outside the pitch. And so, yeah, the example we were talking about, the German model, and yeah, they SanPrecario is always seen San Paoli as a model for this new kind of interconnection between sport and activism, and also for the way it's run and it's structured. Also, what was interesting to mention is that SanPrecario has been one of the first clubs in Italy to do this. The movement in Italy is really big. SanPrecario started in 2007. Only probably a couple of clubs are older than SanPrecario, like Stella Rosa 2006. And io non so pronunciarla, se me lo ridico, cioè, la conosco, ma l'ho sempre solo letta, non la dico così non mi sbaglio. Asata Sakur. Ok, sì. What, sorry?
Ancona.
Di Ancona, sì, no, quello sì lo so, però il problema è che leggendole basta, poi io non lo pronuncio. So, only reading it, I know to say the word, sorry, about the name, but it's from Ancona. And so there is a history of there is now an history, but this was the start. And also, yeah, we were mentioning also RFC Lions, that are good friends of SanPrecario, and we know them for different reasons and for the masks. This is the advertising moment, but yeah. So we also thank our friends from SanPrecario, and we wish. I don't think there is any spy or any friend of cops in our streaming who's gonna send you police because you're all together in the same room, so that should be fine. Just as soon as the streaming is over, you've got 30 seconds to run away before that's the time between when it stops on YouTube and when it stops in real life, basically. So lock everything. So it's 8:04 in here, 9:04 in Italy and in that side of the Europe, but we're not Europe anymore, so that's not our problem. And so what I wanted to say, actually, I wanted to mention something really quickly. There are greetings to all of us from Rostock, IFC Rostock, and from Detroit as well in USA, to all the people who are here in our streaming. RFC says hello to SanPrecario, and so it's amore reciproco in Italian. Let's say that is, so it's fair on both sides. Last words for this streaming. I mean, something you want to say, something you wish for next season, something you want to wish without thinking too much about COVID, maybe. So we just end on a lighter note. So let's try to forget about it for a minute.
Yes, we first first of all we hope to could be able to come again playing our championship, because I was talking yesterday to the bomber of our team that say, okay, I'm getting old. I don't have all this time to continue playing. I want to win with Partizan. So come on, let's hope to be able to play again. And no, anyway, we, as I told in the introduction, we want to win this championship this year. We want to do what we made Partizan for. So to come back and celebrate together, and to go everywhere and say, okay, we are from Bonola, we are proud of it, and we want to win this game. We don't care, because we think that people is stronger than money. So that's what we want to say in every pitch we go through, and that is for the main team. Then for what we are trying to work for is to as Zagreb is doing, and also SanPrecario, is to start to play, to let the children play in Partizan Bonola. A fun things that maybe I didn't say before is that we are totally into our neighborhood, but we just train in our neighborhood. The stadium is outside our neighborhood, because in our area is full of big teams, like people coming from everywhere. Like children have to pay 600 euros per year to play football, and there are a lot of football pitch, but are all from those team. So we want to make also an opportunity to child to come play for Partizan.
We started recently. We got first open trainings, just a little, and then we got. I received one day finally the photo of the young kids, young members, young players of Clapton playing for the first time, wearing the colors of Clapton, and that was just like, okay, with this, that's it. We're done. That's the first time you'll see that is just. It's quite amazing. It's something that is completely different from probably that's what they say when you become a father, isn't it? So like or a mother. So you actually see that. Once you see, you'll understand how it feels. Or more or less, that was the feeling probably for us. And then what about you, Josip, in Zagreb? What are your plans?
Yeah, I was just also remembering, I think for our first kids game, official game that happened this 3 months ago, I think there were more people actually on that game than when the men's team senior played, because a lot of parents also came, so it was like really full, and it was amazing. So yeah, this is definitely something that we wish. We also needed on sports side, because there are some regulations that if you want to go to upper leagues, you also have to have the youth sections. So it's in our sports interest, but also in our interest as a club to develop the youth section, especially with principles that we are trying to share with all of the people who are practicing in a club, regardless of their age, gender, or whatever. We hope and wish to reactivate the women's team also, and on a long term, probably to somehow manage to get our own pitch or something. So for 6 years we've been renting. First 4 seasons, one small stadium. Second to last 2 seasons, different. I mean, it's not stadium; it's a pitch with a fence around. But it's it's a big difference when you don't have something that's when you have to rent, when you don't have something that you can call your own. And yeah, this is something that we think would really help us with having something where you can invite people to come when it's not just a game, when it's just, hanging around, or, having some place where local kids can, that's the pitch of Zagreb 041, and that's some pitch from some other club where 5 different clubs play, stuff like that. So this is definitely something that is kind of a big ideal, big picture of maybe.
Just wanted to tell you also, you probably cannot see, but you received some greetings from what we can consider a common friend, Pedro.
Pedro.
Yeah, he also came to visit us.
He's our greatest international fan, probably. I think he's been to the more games of our club than some members of club.
Does he try every week?
Yeah.
And what about Sampre? What are your goals and new plans for the next months, and what's going to happen there?
Eccomi, volevo provare a formulare un discorso in inglese, ma probabilmente ci mettiamo meno se lo faccio in italiano e tu mi traduci. Comunque, per quanto riguarda i progetti futuri, in realtà noi adesso abbiamo in piedi un progetto in Palestina, un progetto che segue un po' il filone di altri progetti che abbiamo fatto in passato, perché anche c'era stato circa il 2010, circa, su per giù.
5-6 anni fa, sì.
Comunque 5-6 anni fa abbiamo contribuito a costruire un playground a Kobane, nel momento in cui Kobane era stata distrutta e il popolo curdo cercava in qualche modo un contributo per provare a ricostruire la città. 2 anni fa siamo stati nella striscia di Gaza con un progetto basato sull'hip hop. L'anno scorso è successo un fatto che abbiamo reputato particolarmente grave, perché nella striscia di Gaza c'è una squadra che si può definire come la nostra Serie A, alla quale è stato impedito di partecipare al campionato, praticamente a partecipare alla Champions League asiatica, perché a loro è stato impedito di scontrarsi contro una squadra del West Bank. Ovviamente per uscire dalla striscia di Gaza ci vogliono dei permessi speciali, dei visti, e di tutta la squadra solo 5 persone hanno potuto godere di questi permessi. Ovviamente questa ingiustizia l'abbiamo vissuta in modo particolarmente empatico, e abbiamo deciso di provare a portare noi lo sport all'interno della striscia di Gaza, se chi vive dentro la striscia di Gaza non ha la possibilità di confrontarsi con delle squadre estere, ecco. Il progetto che abbiamo appena lanciato come una serie di polisportive a livello nazionale si chiama Play for Gaza, e speriamo la prossima estate potrà andare nella zona nord appunto della striscia di Gaza, verso il valico di Erez, per intendersi, verso Israele, e avrà la possibilità di inaugurare un campo sportivo che è stato costruito all'interno di un centro polifunzionale che è stato affidato completamente in gestione alla popolazione gazawa. L'ambizione è grande, nel senso che non è detto che riusciremo a farlo, non solo per limiti legati al Covid, ma anche perché appunto per entrare ci vogliono dei visti particolari. Quello che non ci fermerà è comunque la consapevolezza che dalle macerie, dalle situazioni più disastrose, lo sport può aiutare le persone a riemergere, può aiutare le persone a ritrovare una sicurezza in se stessi, ad affrontare tutti i traumi di guerra, ad affrontare i traumi che una popolazione, insomma, considerata ai limiti della povertà, insomma, può provare. Per chiunque fosse interessato, ovviamente questo tipo di progetto per ora lo stiamo lanciando a livello italiano, perché per noi è più semplice richiedere i visti. Comunque chi fosse interessato può contattarci alla pagina Facebook nostra, o comunque può fare riferimento a noi per avere maggiori informazioni. siamo convinti che rompere l'assedio che Israele sta imponendo sia fondamentale. Più riusciamo a far parlare della Palestina, di Gaza, meglio è, e quindi cerchiamo di costruire un gruppo bello coeso, bello grande, in modo da riuscire a rompere davvero questo assedio che ormai si protrae da troppi anni.
Ok, eccomi. C'ho tutto. Allora, il progetto. Oh no, I need to say it in English. Sorry. Okay, so the project in the short term, I switched it on. So the project, which is in the short term for now, that was just launched across from SanPrecario with other clubs in Italy initially for other for limitations, and then I were explained later. I will translate in a bit. It's following a series of projects that SanPrecario has been working on in Palestine already, and also in other parts of the world. Between 5 and 6 years ago, they helped building a playground in Kobane once it was destroyed, and also there was another project in the Gaza Strip when they supported a playground. So basically, okay, there was a club from the Gaza Strip which plays in the higher league, and it was forbidden to travel to play a game against a team in the West Bank. And this was in the Asian Champions League. Only 5 people got the permits to travel across the border of the Gaza Strip. Forgot to say there was also a project on hip-hop, which was launched in the past. I have to confess it was because my handwriting was really bad, so I took a second to reread and realize what I wrote. So there was this project on the hip-hop. So this club has been forbidden to travel outside the Gaza Strip, and SanPrecario has been part of this project to launch a playground which is managed completely by the people from Gaza, and so the idea is to bring sport to the Gaza Strip if the sport cannot get out of the Gaza Strip, and so this project is now active in this playground in a community center run by the people from Gaza in the north of the Gaza Strip, near the Eretz border. What's the plan is to get people there to bring also football and sport material, and try to, if given the permissions, and trying to break these borders that are there. So what Valentina was saying is that it's important that from rubble, sport can help people to race again, to stand up again, to get a sense of community, to win also traumas given the situation, and also help people in a really strong poverty, in a poverty situation. So bring a bit of joy. If you're interested, you can contact them on the Facebook page, and they're trying for now to connect only with the Italian clubs, because it's of course easier to organize nationally rather than internationally on the permits to travel in the area. But at the same time, so the point is like basically trying to break this siege that Israel is imposing on the area of the on the Gaza Strip, and trying to bring some joy. And as we've been talking all night long, like sport can be a joy, doesn't have to be only winning, losing. It can be something that maybe for that 2 hours we do can switch off our head. Sometimes that's probably it sounds like a really small thing, but it can be a massive thing for many of us and many people around the world. And again, I'm talking like Santa Claus again. I know, I just I don't know. Maybe in Italian it would have sounded better, but this is I'm and be good tonight. You can see the kids, and see you next now. Okay, it was great. It was a really, really nice Happy New Year We're really happy. I think it's really important for all of us to get together and just to hear different stories. And I could hear in some. I was thinking. I don't know about you, but I was thinking while you were telling us what you're doing around your area, around the world as well. There are some things that you think, well, maybe we can try that too. Wouldn't be that difficult just to do it in a simple way, but it could have maximum results. And it's also always good to be together with others who are sharing our ideals and our view of sport, and makes you feel less alone sometimes. I guess it's a bit of a feeling that you can have if you're a bit of the different one in the sport. So it's really nice to have you, and really thanks a lot for your time. You just it was great. It was really great to have you all here. I think we are probably going to speak again. Maybe there's gonna be this project of getting together one day. If it happens this time, we can probably 100% say that it will be in the Old Spotted Dog, which is massive and for us. So you will be in our stadium, the historical stadium of Clapton, and yeah, again, thanks a lot. I would like to argue, but we cannot because we're far, and we cannot because of the virus anyway. So that's not going to happen. And also,
thank you for inviting us.
No, thanks to you.
Thank you.
And also, thanks to all the people who watch this. Thanks to all the people who will watch it later. Don't forget, we need to fix a roof. That's really important. And so you will find the links where you can put your money in, which will become everybody's money. So it's like let's collectivize the roof. And yeah, I'll see you next week. Thomas, thanks a lot. Are you still there?
Thank you.
Are you good?